Greetings, in the spotlight on air, and Evgenia Monakova is in the studio. Today we are talking about consequences of coronavirus, what they can be from the point of neurological system. Today we have candidate of medical sciences, the head of residence of neurologists of the Amur State Medical Academy, Vyacheslav Alexandrovich Ananenko. And we will work out this complicated question with him. Indeed, I suppose that there are many new patients appeared after they recovered from COVID and faced neurological aftermath. Have you noticed the increase of the load on neurologists? Yes, sure, not only me have noticed, but the whole medical world community. And of course, post-COVID syndrome is a long process. Sometimes it's frequent, sometimes it has a regression, but duration not just half of the year, but a way longer period. So you mean to say some symptoms can last longer than a year? It's possible, depends on the individual aspects of body, immune response, premorbid background of health problems the patient went into COVID with. And that's why these patients' weak links of pathological organs and systems will manifest themselves in post-COVID syndrome. As you can see, this has a great importance. Let's specify what consequences are most commonly seen working with these patients. Well, they even comply with international principles. Well, at present, for the first time, based on science researches, collectively Moscow Medical Academy or Sechenov University, the University of Liverpool, the Johns Hopkins University set 11 parameters for post-COVID syndrome. This corresponds to absolutely all polymorbid signs, though that multiple damage can be both of the nervous system, the tropisy is still there, peripheral, central, and autonomic nervous system. Pathology can be associated with any organ, including the heart, joints, muscles, and so on. Why so? Because this virus is initially very close to the vascular and endothelial receptors, and vessels, they are absolutely in all systems. Therefore, inflammatory changes in the vessels are very often transmitted to the systems of initial organs. It turns out that absolutely everything suffers, right? Yes, but it's individually. Some people walking ill without knowing and do not notice that they are sick. Someone endures in severe form. Someone endures in a moderate form, and all this determined not only by the premorbid background, meaning the disease with which the patient gets sick with COVID, but also by humoral and cellular patient's immunity. Well, for instance, someone's joints are suffering, someone has problems with heart. In this case, I know doctors use simple concept: a chain is no stronger than its weakest link. So if there are any problems, then the disease will simply influence on them, right? Absolutely true. The fewer chronic disease we have, the less difficult, not always but still, the COVID itself and the post-COVID recovery are. After vaccination, patients may also experience some individual specific symptoms, right? Of course, vaccination determines already acquired immunity. Vaccination determines not only the absence of the disease itself, but mild illness course, lessening the number of deaths. Therefore, if a patient comes with a systemic chronic pathology, of course he will have a more severe course even after vaccination. But nevertheless, it is the vaccination that allows you to remove serious complications and consequences. So they are different concepts. Here on the scale, such things as the patient's life, and it will always be more important, it will always outweigh. Well, you know, Vyacheslav Alexandrovich, I also conducted my own survey preparing for this broadcast. I asked, are there people who couldn't, for example, restore olfactory receptors? Yes, indeed, during illness, during COVID, many faced this problem. Someone's sense of smell disappeared completely, but it doesn't return for quite a long time. Is there any way we can help these patients? Yes, first, you need to say why the sense of smell changes. It can go through basically three main formats. The first is a decrease in smell. We feel but somewhat worse. There may be a distortion of smell. We feel but not those smells, or maybe a complete absence of it. In modern conditions, modern science has confirmed that it is not the neurons themselves that are affected, but the supporting cells. These are the cells that are in the nasal mucus itself, and they produce a chemical secretion that forms connection between olfactory molecules and form a signal which goes through several transmitters to the cerebral cortex. Therefore, some patients have their supporting cells suffering, some have those transmitters suffering that are in the central nervous system, including cortex, and this influence what change will be. To be more precise, Will it be a distortion of smell or a complete loss of it? And the quickness of smell restored depends on it as well. Mainly it's around 6 months, but they were conducted a lot of researches, especially for doctors who are in so-called red zones. Those are foreign researches proved that even after 18 months, sometimes there are changes in smell. Yes, the progression of recovery is still positively predictable, meaning that it's possible. And here you need to know what methods to apply even at home. Look, I have started, for example, with the simplest thing. Training olfactory receptors with aromatherapy, is it effective? Yes. It has conditional efficiency. Why? Aromatherapy is targeted on forming the memory system. We have engrams written in our cerebral cortex, and to recover or to stimulate the restoration of nerve signals, we conduct such a training, and it is very important to know how conducted correctly. Before starting training, it would be good to undergo halotherapy. These are rooms with salt that remove smelling, restore a mucosal system. So first restore the mucosal system, right? It's absolutely right. And sometimes it's even better to consult with an ENT doctor. It may be possible to use some Selene at the beginning without rooms and then move on to 2 components. Those may be essential oils, and the best variant is to combine clove, eucalyptus, citrus. It is also possible to combine with common smells, especially with those smells that you have already been acquainted with. No need essential oils, but just add, for instance, coffee, lemon balm, mint, and to counterbalance some garlic. And a very important format has been already proven by neuropsychologists, including neurophysiologists, that it is better to train smells together with taste training, because very often the taste disappears and returns at the same time with smell. To put it in a nutshell, recover the taste olfactory receptors together. Alright, got it. Vyacheslav Alexandrovich, well, those who didn't succeed in recovering in such simple ways, are there any other variants to help them? A lot of. We can even recommend using such reflexotherapy methods as acupressure at home. Very simple method you can use to 3 pairs of points on your body. You can start from the very top point between the eyebrows. Here, yes? Yes, between the eyebrows, absolutely. Along the edges of the nose, then under the nose, then at the central point. Literally this triangle, right? Yes, correct, triangle. And use tragus. This tragus is just the part that is responsible for the outside part of the nose. So to massage. Massage must be correct. No need to rub hard. You need to perform a targeted movement, clockwise or dotted, and press slowly. Or to alternate both. But I know there is a medical therapy, but we here definitely say that this is only on the recommendation of a doctor. Absolutely right. Let's move on to another frequent health disorder that really worries many. This was also confirmed by my survey. Cognitive disorders of a different character. That is memory loss, for example. I can't remember a word, it is hard for me, my head starts to ache when I tense myself up. Let's go through this. Absolutely right. Both the international community and our Russian medical community confirmed that the pathology comes not only from the peripheral nervous system, central and autonomic nervous system. So the central nervous system is the system that is responsible for cognitive processes. There are attention, memory, thinking, the ability to switch attention, the ability to learn new things. All these is a very large number of neurons that are in associative connections. These are those neurons that are distributed over the cortex of both hemispheres and have a full interaction with each other. Taking into account that the virus is neurotropic itself, it damages these connections. Here we can advise medical-only therapy. Go to the doctor? No, medical therapy has a large importance, but cognitive behavioral therapy, memory training, specific techniques, concentration and attention switching, developing lateral thinking are worth mentioning too. So what and where can we find out about these trainings and techniques? What do we have to type in a Google or another searching engine? Yes, sure, you can search for it on the internet, but the best thing is to consult a neuropsychologist, because he will choose a specific technique. For example, the patient will not be able to distinguish if he has problems with attention or problems with short-term memory or problems with thought process, where to pay attention first. Of course, there are a lot of resources on the internet. If you search for post-COVID memory damage, you will get a lot of information. But to sort this information correctly and get the exact result, you must go to see a neurologist or a neuropsychologist. So at least first to find out everything about yourself and then to pick up some kind of recovery scheme for yourself. Yes, definitely. But I really know there are still a lot of complicated moments in the field of neurology. Some people face joints pains and many other problems. That's a pity we cannot talk about everything within the framework of one program. Hope we will have a chance to see each other again and discuss all these problems. Thank you very much for the interesting discussion. Thank you.